Hello, friends. Welcome to the Wisdom Journey. My name is Elizabeth. Today we are covering chapter 12, and there are just so many different topics here. And so, what I'm going to try to do is I group them on the patterns, right? The themes that are recurring. So let's get started. Verse 1: To learn, you must love discipline. It is stupid to hate correction. I'm curious at what your translation. I just think it's so funny when I read the Bible use this type of language. It is stupid to hate correction, right? So we must love to learn. And in order for you to love to learn, you're true learners, then you have to love discipline, right? Because we all have something to learn. So we're going to have to change. We're going to have to say, oh, I'm learning something new, and that kind of hurts. I have to change. So let's love discipline. I am going to jump now to the other topics. Let's see. Advice. Okay, so I'm going to use the theme of advice. So verse 5. The plans of the godly are just. The advice of the wicked is treacherous. That is verse 5. Let's jump to verse 26. The godly give good advice to their friends. The wicked lead them astray. So these are going to be themes that are recurring. So I might sound like I've already said this, but hey, we've got to just, dig it in here and in here. So we need advice, right? Because we don't know it all. And there's a couple of you out there think you know it all. We don't know it all. And we need help from our elders, from people that have been there, done that. So we have to be really careful who we allow into our lives to give us advice. So again, verse 26, the wicked will lead them astray. So as Christians, we can't just take advice from anyone. We are set apart. We have a different set of standards. So even though there's trends, there's things that the world may say it's okay. Yes, it's okay for them. It's not okay for us. And we don't have to defend it. We don't have to apologize. Hey, this is my faith, and these are the standards that I live by. So sorry, I don't do that. And also, we have to be careful of the advice that we give. So we can't be too quick to give advice. And I sometimes like, oh, I know what they need to do, and they need to do this or they need to do that. And we can actually lead people astray. So before we give any advice, we have to pray. Pray that God gives us wisdom, because we can hurt our family and friends with the wrong advice. And if you've given the wrong advice before, quickly go to that person and say, hey, I'm sorry. I thought this was best for you, but maybe this, or now after praying about it. So let's be very cognizant about being careful of who we give advice. And then there's some people that just don't care, right? So let's not waste our time giving advice to people that don't care. But I'm in this other study group, and that was one of the things that came up about getting advice, especially about relationships and marriage. That is sacred. You get advice from people that have a strong marriage or have rebuilt their marriage, and they can really pour into your life, right? About sexual morality, like I said, I'm in this other Bible study group, and something that's really interesting that came out of that is that when it comes to sex outside of marriage, the world is okay with it. And so then you have to be careful not to get advice from them, say, oh, if you really like that person and you guys have been dating for this long, why don't you guys already, just love each other that way? Or you're probably going to get married, so go ahead. We have different standards, and the standards is that we wait until marriage, we wait until we are under that covenant to do this lovely thing that God created, which is sex. We have to wait. And another interesting thing that came out is this notion that there's like an age limit for that. Like, yes, we can stay pure, but up to a certain age, and not up to a certain age, like it doesn't matter. You're already old, so who cares if you stay pure? Or you're divorced. So after a divorce, you don't really have to abide by these principles. And The answer is no, we do. There's no expiration date or a time frame or age limit as to when we're supposed to keep ourselves pure. And the thing that we forget is that God has forgiven us. He says that he no longer remembers your past. He says he chooses to forget it. And as far as the east is from the west, it's gone. You are new. He sheds his blood over you, and now you are white as snow. And so when he looks at you, he sees a new person with new mercies, new opportunities every day. And he loves you, and he thinks you are precious, and he wants to protect your body, and he wants to protect your heart, and he wants to protect your soul. So if at this moment you may not appreciate that, you may say, hey, I'm just not there anymore. I'm not a young person. I've made a lot of mistakes. So you may not feel worthy or valuable of protecting yourself, but God does. And so if you're struggling with that, a little exhortation is that it doesn't matter the age or the situation, he tells us to stay pure. And two, he loves you, and in his eyes, you're a new person, and you continue on that journey and just asking him every day to help you. Okay, so that was that. Now let's go to words. So we're seeing this trend here that we have to be very careful about our words. So verse 6, the words of the wicked are like a murderous ambush, but the words of the godly save lives. That is really strong. Murderous ambush. That's the words of the wicked. They will kill you. That's how strong our words are, how powerful our words are. And remember that Jesus says, like, even if you hate your brother, you already committed murder, right? So here's saying, like, if you're saying these evil things, you are committing murder. So we have to be really, really careful. Like I mentioned in the other video, if we're struggling with just saying things really quickly without thinking, ask him to give you that relay, that delay, right, before you say things. But the words of the godly save lives. So it brings life into this world. So words, verse 13, the wicked are trapped by their own words, but the godly escape such trouble. So the wicked just yap, 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 and before you know it, they entangle themselves and they get trapped. If you just speak the truth, and not speak much, you don't have to get in this trouble. 14, wise words bring many benefits, and hard work brings rewards. That's self-explanatory. Fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others. So we're supposed to seek out, we're supposed to truly listen, but remember, really watch out to whom you are listening to, right? Words. A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. Do an inventory of how you're in that area. Do you quickly, get upset and maybe will quickly say something, quickly stay insulted, quickly get insulted? Verse 18, some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise bring healing. Verse 19, truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. So I love how verse 18 says, the words of the wise bring healing. Verse 18 says, the words of the wise bring healing. And in the other verse, it said that it brought it godly, but the words of the godly save lives. Does your vocabulary, does your communication, does it bring healing? And it should be, right? Our words, our perspective, when people leave your presence, do they leave hopeful, right? Or are they leaving worse off, thinking of, worries and dreadful things like that? So let's take a note, an inventory of how people are leaving our presence. I here put a note on verse 10, the godly care for animals, but the wicked are always cruel. So we're supposed to care for the animals. We're supposed to be stewards of this creation, and God created it for us. And remember, we read that, you know, God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus were creating this beautiful world, and they actually were having fun. It said they were enjoying it and they delighted in what they were creating. I don't know, I kind of like imagine them like high-fiving, like, whoa, high-fiving when they, you know, created the ocean, when, you know, light appeared. So this is our world to steward. We should be the ones that are caring for animals. But there's a difference between being a steward and caring for animals and worshiping them and putting them above humans, right? We're supposed to take care of them, make sure they're not suffering, they're living in good condition. They're made for us and they bring us joy, right? These little animals are silly. They, you know, love us, supposedly, you know, they lick us and they make us laugh. And sometimes when we're lonely, they become like part of the family. So God really created these creatures for us. And there's another scripture somewhere out there that says that God knows all the creatures of the land, right? So he knows them, he created it, he created them for us. We should be taking care of them. However, let's have a balance. Let's not worship them and put them above humans, right? Okay. And then I'm going to go to verse 23. The wise don't make a show of their knowledge, but the fools broadcast their foolishness. We've all met those people, right? They're just braggadocious. And if someone has to say, oh, I'm so smart, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so sad to say this, that you're probably not smart. You know, a smart, confident person really doesn't say it. A rich person doesn't go around saying, hey, I'm so rich, I'm so rich. You know, when you are that person, whatever it is, whether you're a nice person or you're a confident person, you have that confidence and there's no need to share it. People just know when you walk into a room, people just feel your presence, right? You don't need to be out showing it off. It's funny, but the fools broadcast their foolishness. And you've seen it when people come in bragging about, oh, my car or this, it just kind of makes you smile inside. And you kind of can't respect that person. You kind of feel sorry for them, right? So let's walk in our identity and really test this out. Like, stop broadcasting a lot of things and say, hey, does my essence relay that message? If I'm a peaceful person, when I go into the room, will people say like, whoa, there's something different about this person? If I'm a happy person, you know, whatever it is, if I'm bold, you know, let your essence, let your spirit broadcast that for you. I forgot about this one. Verse 4, a worthy wife is a crown for her husband, but a disgraceful woman is like a cancer in his bones. And I was looking, you know, the research of cancer in his bones. It can also be like shame, right? So as women, you know, we want to be a crown for our husbands. We want our husbands to be proud of us, to hear good from us, from, you know, wherever they're at. They say, hey, your wife was here and she was great. You know, you want to hear good testimony. So one, I want to encourage, you know, like, let's do what we have to do to make our husbands proud. First, we make God proud. And when we make God proud, like, everything works out, right? If you're walking with the Lord and you know you're doing what you should be doing, it will, you know, it will resonate and go out to our family and our husbands. But this can also be for the husband, right? You know, men or husband, are you a crown for your wife, a tiara for your wife, right? Or are you doing things that bring shame to the family? One thing I do want to share is that if you're not a crown for your husband, if you're not a tiara for your wife, but you want to, God can restore marriages. He can restore the perspective you have of each other. It just does take two people to say, hey, I want we want this. Let's work hard at it. I have seen it, and I know you all have seen it, marriages that have struggled when they both hold hands and surrender to the transformation that God can do in their hearts. Marriages are restored, and sometimes they are restored to a better level than they were before. They truly love each other because now they're loving each other with God's love and not just pure lust. So don't give up. If this is if you're not in a situation, you say, you know, my husband's not proud of me because I'm constantly doing this, or my wife's not proud of me because I'm not doing this. It's okay. Remember, God meets us where we're at. And he is a God of restoration. He is a God of second chances. And if we surrender, he will restore our relationships, and we can be that crown or that tiara. All right. So that concludes verse 12. And we're doing good. You know, we're just chugging along. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.